I helped a man who had a heart attack, but because of that, I arrived late to work and ended up losing my job. The next day, I returned to the office to collect my things and, to my surprise, I found the man I had saved. He was the new partner and head of the company where I worked. July woke up that morning full of enthusiasm and energy. It was a day she had eagerly awaited, her first day as a full-time employee at the company where she had interned for months. At 22 years old, she saw this moment as the beginning of a dream come true. As she prepared, she reflected on all the effort she had put in to get there, sleepless nights, weekends dedicated to courses, and overcoming daily challenges at work. It wasn't easy, especially since her boss, Ralph, never seemed satisfied and preferred another intern. Despite this, July didn't let herself be discouraged. Her optimism and dedication earned her the respect of several colleagues, and finally, she had the chance to prove her worth as a permanent employee. As usual, she left the house early, liking to arrive ahead of time to get organized and start the day calmly. On her way to the bus stop, she watched the city come to life, people hurrying to their commitments, until something caught her attention. A well-dressed middle-aged man seemed to be in distress, stumbling on the sidewalk and clutching his chest. July hesitated for a moment, checked the time, and thought about the importance of that day, but decided to approach and ask if he was okay. The man, who introduced himself as Henry, responded with difficulty, saying he felt a sharp pain in his chest. Suddenly, he collapsed. July acted quickly. She remembered the first aid classes she had taken a few months earlier on her own initiative. She checked Henry's vital signs and began CPR, asking a passerby to call an ambulance. The minutes seemed to drag on as July fought to keep Henry alive, alternating between chest compressions and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, while praying for the paramedics to arrive soon. Finally, she heard sirens in the distance. When the paramedics arrived, they praised her quick and precise actions, saying her intervention was crucial in saving Henry's life. Although she felt relief and pride, reality hit her. She was already late for work. July arrived at the company with her heart racing, both from running and from anxiety about the reaction she would face upon arriving. As she entered, she noticed disapproving looks from some colleagues. She tried to explain briefly what had happened, but was interrupted by the arrival of Ralph, her boss. He didn't look pleased. With a curt gesture, he asked July to follow him to the office. She followed him with a knot in her stomach. As soon as the door closed, Ralph began speaking, clearly irritated. "I'm extremely disappointed. On your first day as a full-time employee, you arrived more than an hour late. You missed an important meeting with the board. What kind of example do you think you're setting?" July, still trying to catch her breath, explained the incident with Henry and how she provided first aid. However, Ralph seemed doubtful. "Convenient story, don't you think? How can I know if this really happened? And even if it did, your priority should have been work. There were other people who could have helped." Ralph's words struck July like a blow. She felt her eyes well up with tears but did her best to stay composed. "Ralph, I understand your frustration, but I'm telling the truth. It was an emergency, and I couldn't just ignore someone in need of help." Despite her explanation, Ralph didn't seem inclined to change his mind. With a sigh, he said what July never expected to hear that day: "I'm sorry, but I can't accept this kind of behavior. Your actions show a lack of commitment to the company. You're fired." He emphasized that the company did not tolerate mistakes or delays, especially at such a crucial time, and that letting it go would set a bad example for the interns and other employees. At that moment, July's world crumbled. All her dreams and plans seemed to evaporate. She tried to argue, but Ralph remained firm. He asked her to collect her things and leave the building immediately, returning only the next day to sign the dismissal papers. July packed her belongings while colleagues watched her, some with curiosity, others with sympathy. As she left, she felt completely disoriented. How would she explain this to her little sister, whom she had been responsible for since their parents' death? That night, July barely managed to sleep. Amid moments of deep sadness and anger at the injustice, something comforted her. She knew she had done the right thing by helping Henry. The next morning, she returned to the company to finalize her resignation. As she walked through the halls, she spotted a man hurrying in. She recognized him immediately. It was Henry, the man she had helped. Seeing her, Henry's eyes filled with gratitude. He quickly approached her. "You're the young woman who saved me yesterday. I've been looking for you. The doctors told me that if it weren't for your help, I probably wouldn't have survived. How can I thank you?" Surprised and emotional, July smiled shyly. "You don't need to thank me, sir. I just did what anyone would do." Henry shook his head, impressed. "No, it wasn't just anyone. It was you, and that made all the difference." He looked around and asked, "Do you work here?" Before July could answer, Ralph appeared, his face pale upon seeing Henry. "Mr. Henry. We didn't expect to see you today. I thought you were still in the hospital." By a twist of fate, Henry was the company's new partner, Ralph's boss. Henry smiled. "I'm doing very well, thanks to this young woman." He turned back to July. "But you still haven't answered me. Do you work here?" July hesitated, glancing at Ralph, who looked extremely uncomfortable. "Actually, sir, I used to work here, but I was fired yesterday." Henry frowned, surprised. "Fired? Why?" Ralph, visibly nervous, tried to intervene. "There's been a misunderstanding, Mr. Henry. We can discuss this privately." However, Henry, determined to understand the situation, did not step away. After discovering that July was fired for being late on the day she saved him, Henry was visibly outraged. His expression showed frustration with the injustice, and he did not hide his disappointment upon learning the reason. Henry approached July and, in a thoughtful gesture, handed her a card. "Call me tomorrow," he said calmly. "We need to discuss this further." The card, with Henry's name elegantly printed on it, seemed to carry the promise of something greater. July looked at him, feeling a mix of relief and curiosity as she watched him walk away, sensing that a new opportunity was emerging. The next day, July made the call as agreed. Henry invited her to a meeting at his private office, located in an imposing and distinctive building. Henry was a respected and influential man, known for his skill in leading various companies. As July entered the office, she felt a blend of nervousness and curiosity. Henry, with a warm and friendly look, welcomed her with a genuine smile. He began the conversation by expressing his deep gratitude for the help July had provided. His voice, usually firm, carried a tone of sincerity and admiration. "I want you to know how grateful I am for your actions on the day I needed help the most," he said with respect. "Your act was not only altruistic but essential." He continued to praise July's determination and proactivity, stating that these qualities were rare and valuable to him. "I see in you a person with great potential," he added, "and someone I would love to work more closely with." Henry then made a proposal that could transform the career of any aspiring leader. "I would like to invite you to be my protégé. You will work directly with me as my trusted assistant. I promise to mentor you and help you become the outstanding administrator you wish to be." With these words, Henry made an offer that left July deeply moved. The opportunity to realize her dream was before her, and she accepted with a hopeful smile. In the months that followed, July proved to be more than an exemplary assistant. She became a true partner to Henry. Her intelligence, empathy, and dedication were crucial in driving positive changes within the company. The story of her hiring soon spread, inspiring colleagues to be more collaborative and to value the human aspect of the workplace. As for Ralph, he was transferred to another department and underwent training focused on improving his people management skills. While Henry took charge, July's career flourished thanks to her effort, determination, and the chance she received. Her relationship with Henry grew stronger, and together, they transformed the company into a place where human appreciation and professional excellence coexisted in harmony. July learned from Henry that the most significant moments in life can arise from acts of kindness, capable of changing both the destiny of those who receive and those who offer. If this story inspired you, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.